everybody, and welcome back to Girls Unscripted. Carolyn is chewing, so I'll speak for her. I'm Kate, and I'm Carolyn, and welcome to Girls Unscripted. Sorry, I started. Yay. I didn't realize you just put something in your mouth, and I just started. And we could re-record it, but I don't think we should.
I don't think we want to.
Unless, do you want to?
No, I'm good. Okay. I mean, you did such an uncanny job of being
I really improvised there. I really improvised.
You were quick on your feet, and you should be proud of yourself.
I have like a really random question. So we just finished recording our Valley episode, and we both like got up and got a drink and whatever. In your cabinets, when you put like your glasses in the cabinet, do you have them upside down or right side up in a cabinet?
Right side up.
Don't you feel like they collect dust that way?
Don't you feel like upside down is the part that you put your lips on, so you're like licking your cabinet?
I guess.
Are you and Dan in a stalemate about this?
Well, we moved in about a month ago, and he was really adamant about putting them right side up, and I'm like, but then dust and stuff like gets in them, and he was so adamant that I just gave up. I'm like, there will be a battle that I want to fight harder than this one, so I'm going to give up on this one. But I feel like every time I take a fucking glass out of my thing, like there's always like particles in it. And like, I just took this out and I blew in it and like dust did come up in my face.
How long has it been sitting there?
Just like a month.
Was it like in the house when you got there? There shouldn't be that much dust in it.
Okay, maybe there's a bigger issue that I need to figure out. It wasn't like that much, but there's like little particles or like, I don't know. What if like a spider gets in it? I just feel like it should always be question of the week. Which way do you guys put your glass? Because I don't know. Like, but you know what? You're right. I feel you on your point as well.
Also, like the turnover for me for glasses is so fast that like there's not much time for particles to accumulate.
We have a lot of glasses, so maybe that's really
when you combine
issue.
Two households, it can be like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot. All right, let's just get right into the Valley, and I have something to say right off the bat, Carolyn.
Say it with your whole chest, bitch.
So this episode was titled Dark Side Danny. Don't you think it was such a missed opportunity to call this episode Danny Darko?
Oh, man.
Are you
I didn't think that at the time, but now at this present time, I can't deny it. That would have been amazing.
If you're going to go Dark Side Danny, just do the full, like, lean into it, Danny Darko. And at first I was like, oh, maybe, like, they're not allowed or something, but it's Donnie Darko, so, like, it is different.
Yeah, and it's parody law. It's a joke, so they can say whatever they want, right?
And his name is Danny Bucco, Danny Darko. Like, I'm just saying.
Oh, man. They really did miss it.
But whatever.
They messed up.
I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah.
I'll write a letter.
Please write a handwritten note.
Why don't you start us off on this episode? Because I just was kind of all over the place.
I want to start off with the lighter note of this episode. And that I will say, and I don't know what this says about me, but I do love watching stupid bros having fun. Like leaving Jesse at the bathroom, funny. Jesse getting on someone else's boat, funny. Jesse being Rose from Titanic, pretty fucking funny.
I actually did laugh out loud at that moment. It was like a classic, like, two can play at that game situation. And it opened my eyes to the appeal of Jesse a little bit more.
Yes.
Of like, okay, now I get why you guys hang out with him. Like, he's that guy that he's a douche, but he like leans into it. And it's kind of funny, like the shit that he does.
Like, I can't give him much else, but I will give him that. Like, he'll lean in and give a good chortle. So I appreciate that, Jesse.
I do. I agree with you. Like, I feel like this episode of The Valley, some parts of it, is kind of what we as the audience are looking for / expecting out of The Valley. Like the guys on a boat and fishing and drinking and laughing and like enjoying each other's company. And then on the flip side, the girls are having this baby shower and they're talking about being moms and labor and all this stuff. And I'm like, that is what this show should be. I like that. Like, show us this side this age group that we don't really get to see on reality TV that much, versus just the constant fighting and drama and rumors that we get on every other fucking reality show.
Right. It's nice to have a fun moment where you actually can feel the fun that they're having. Like just being 30-somethings living their lives the best they can.
Totally.
But I will then there's a stark contrast when we go to the baby shower setup, and I'm just like crawling in my skin with how much Michelle has the ick for Jesse. Like the ick is so huge. Like she's vomiting even just talking about this.
Dude, she literally has no fucking chill. It's almost as if cameras aren't even there at all. She's just like I love how Britney's like, "Are you still attracted to him?" And she's like, not really.
Savage.
And Britney's like, "Are you happy?" And she's like, "No." Like literally no chill. And like we have been saying like her and Jesse have been lying to us all season about like all their shit, but I liked this honesty from Michelle. Like I think she kind of just probably has hit a point where she's like, I can't hide it anymore, and now he is actually trying, and I feel like I have to be honest with him and myself of like, he's doing what I'm asking him to do, and I still don't fuck with him.
And I still can't. Yeah, exactly. At this point, she has to be the one that makes the shots of what's going to happen next, because she doesn't want this to continue. Clearly. I'd love to know the timeline of when this was shot and when they like separated. Do you know? It had to have been in 48 hours. I mean, there was no way they were together for much longer after this.
They separated right before the show premiered, I believe. So there is a chance. But it was announced that they were separated, I would say in the spring, I would guess. But this filmed, I would guess late summer. Because Jax's birthday is July 11th. I just learned that from Kristen Doty's podcast. And I feel like we would have had a episode where we celebrated Jax's birthday, so I feel like it probably started filming later summer.
All I'm saying is that the countdown is on. Like you can, we're down to minutes. We're no longer in hours. Like at any moment.
Michelle at least knew that her and Jesse would be separated by the time that this aired, because you don't say shit like that unless you know for a fact you're going to be done.
Yeah. You don't admit that you are not attracted at all in any capacity to your spouse unless you know they are no longer going to be your spouse.
Exactly. They have this theme party, which I actually did think was kind of cute. Like everyone dress up as their partner's fantasy. I was surprised that Britney wasn't dressed as Kristen Doty though. Dumb joke. But for real, it is a cute theme. I think Jason being a hot dog was funny. Janet being vanilla. Like I do see, again, I as I said, I feel like we saw kind of a better look into how Jesse actually is. I feel like I'm seeing a better look into like Jason and Janet. I do think they are funny and silly. Like I can see their appeal, but I would like to see it more on camera. Like, I think that in reality, you need to learn about these people and love these people before you can really give a shit about their drama.
That's a good point.
So it's like all this drama that's been happening on the Valley and the shit between like Janet and Zach. I'm like, I couldn't really put my finger on why I didn't really care that much. And it's because I don't know them.
Because we don't care that much.
Right.
Yeah, we're not invested because we don't know them, and we have to know them to care about them.
So I wish
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like I wish they would have kind of, like massaged us into them a little bit, like given us a bit more of their personality and the funniness and whatever, and see like more of their backstory and why they are friends. Like Scandival wouldn't have been what it was if it was a first season show and we didn't know any backstory, right?
Right.
So like we wouldn't have given a fuck about it. I just think that we need to know them.
And I'm still not convinced these people are friends. I'm still not seeing enough evidence to be like, man, what a tight-knit group of friends. It still feels very disjointed to me.
The conversation between Janet and Britney on the swings towards the end of the episode, I was like, these two are genuinely friends.
Yeah, those are friends. I don't know. It was nice of them to throw the baby shower. I will say, Janet 100,000% knew that there was a baby shower happening. Like, you do not curl your hair and put on a sexy maternity dress unless you know what's about to happen.
She also didn't even like flinch. She just like walked right in. She was like, oh wow, this is great. Oh my God, you guys. Like, she walked right in. Like normally you kind of like take a step back and you like take it all in. You're like, oh my God, look at this. Like she just walked right on in. Like she was walking down a runway at a fashion show.
Man, this is so nice. This is all just so nice.
Okay, so at this dinner, while they're all dressed like God knows what, first of all, that Chef Tammy is probably like, what the fuck am I walking into? I like Danny, but he was being fucking annoying.
Oh, but he was being, talk about, we just did Vanderpump where I say 1,000 times that Thomas Sandoval's humor is just shockingly bad. Danny's humor is shockingly bad. I'm hoping it's just because he's really drunk. Man, I'm not picking up when he's putting down in terms of like his impressions and his jokes and all that stuff. It did come off as just annoying.
Last episode, he was just like that typical crying drunk, and now he's like that typical belligerent drunk. Like we've all been around this person before where it's like, you are friends with them, but they're just being so obnoxious that like you kind of need to disengage. And like Nia was dying of secondhand embarrassment, and she had so much patience. If it were me, I would have like taken him upstairs and like slept with him just to get him away from everyone and like have him shut the fuck up.
Oh wow,
like,
you took it far.
I thought he was being too much.
You would go have sex with him?
Yeah, I'd be like, come here, Danny. Just if I was Nia, only because Nia cares. You saw this too, which again, you see another glimpse into Nia. She cares a lot about optics, and we forget she's a pageant girl. She wants to look good, and you can tell by the way that he is acting. She feels like he is making her look bad, and their perfect image is ruined. She's like, you just cursed at me on national television.
Yeah. And we knew it was too good to be true. I mean, their edit thus far has just been like, oh, we're a happy couple that has silly little fights. Like, no one's perfect. Everyone's going to have annoying moments with their spouse. And I think we are just starting to see that.
And the next morning, they're sleeping perfectly in bed with their 2 twin babies. I'm like, who are you trying to fool here? You guys just fought. I know Danny's hungover. He's already probably puked 3 times.
Those babies have shit-filled diapers. Everyone is
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. That was
Danny
really funny.
does blame the altitude for his drunk. And I'm going to vouch for him, actually.
Oh, it's a thing.
It's a real fucking thing. I went to Colorado and I went to Red Rocks, and I like drank in the bus on the way there, like a standard amount of what I would normally drink. And while I was like walking down the steps to get to my seat, I straight up fell like a drunk fall, and random people had to help me up. And I just remember getting up being like, that was weird. And I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. And then looking back, I'm like, I was just so drunk. Like, yeah. Obviously me being drunk wasn't the first thing I blamed it on, because I was like, I'm not drunk. I barely drank that much, but altitude fucks you up like that.
Yeah. So, Danny, when I was in Sedona, I had like 1 drink and I felt so sick. Like I was so sick. And I was like, why am I? I'm like, oh, I forgot. I'm like really
Did you get a headache?
High up in the air. Headache and stomach ache. Like I was like, man, it felt like I drank too much. Like
yeah, I've gotten really bad headaches from it before too.
Yeah,
altitude
you have to drink so
crazy,
much water.
Man.
Yeah, it's so nuts.
It is just crazy. Altitude,
it's so
man.
Fucking crazy.
Altitude. That's like such a stoner thing to say. I'm confused about something. So Michelle and Jesse are talking about how Kristen is like starting these rumors that she's texting a guy, blah, 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 whatever. But it was Jax that originally started this, right? And Kristen just is like, has repeated it. Wasn't Jax the one that told Kristen at that restaurant when they did the flashback, and he was like, this isn't being filmed, right? And she's like, of course it's being filmed.
Right.
Like, he's the one that's starting it. Why does Kristen get blamed for everything? Well, I guess because Jax isn't taking any accountability.
Well, I think Michelle also has tunnel vision hatred for Kristen. So it's like, at this point, if she's involved, she's the only person to blame.
That's true.
Know? Like, and she was,
woo! Oh, your setup is falling.
Mic drop.
I saw on the internet that apparently like the Valley cast like really didn't want to film with Kristen, and everyone's saying like they essentially got their wish because Kristen has barely been in these last like 3 or 4 episodes. Like,
really?
I guess after all those fights in the beginning, I could understand why like Janet
they just
and
wanted to
Michelle,
hop off the train. Yeah.
right.
Like,
And
no
she
more.
was starting too much drama early on, which I don't disagree with. There was too much drama early on. But they all got their... Kristen and Zach have not been in this show like the last 3 episodes. Or Luke, obviously.
No. And the things we have watched of them have been, no offense, like pretty boring. Like I don't really care. I don't really care about the dogs or like all that stuff. I'd rather
Yeah,
just
they were just walking their dogs. Like,
catch up with them later. Yeah, there's no, we don't have to see them.
I guess they have to have at least one scene with them so they can get paid for the episode.
That's true. That's,
A theory.
It's
I
all.
don't
It
know.
always goes follow the money. It always goes back to money.
Yeah. The conversation between Janet and Britney out on the swings, I did love how Janet was like, well, you guys would never go down the divorce path. And Britney's like, oh, we would go down that path. I think between her and Michelle, obviously, I don't think I know, these two have just had enough and they knew that what they were going to do. And
Oh, yeah.
Britney's talking heads. Britney's scenes like she is done. Her decision is already made and there's nothing Jax can do to change her mind. And I loved then when the boys go to that dinner and they're all kind of like warning Jax, like, dude, like essentially what they're saying is like, you are completely ignoring her. You are living in a fantasy world. It's so much worse than you think it is. Like she can call the shots too, you know, like watch your fucking back. She's gonna divorce you.
No, totally. Also, I can vouch for Via Loro. I used to work on top of it, like in the building, and it's so good. I didn't eat the weird, like, what are those little shrimp things?
You sound like Jax right now.
I know, like, what was it? I didn't eat those, but man, that place is so good. I totally agree. And I feel so badly. Like, I catch myself, like, I need to stop judging Britney. I just feel like she just says things that are very, like, obvious statements, or like if it has to be right in front of her for her to see or realize something. So the fact that she's like starting to think for herself here makes me go, okay, good. Yes, I like this Britney. I like this
Right.
Britney a lot. Like,
Right.
I wonder, and I feel like our affection for her is just going to like continue to grow as we see her think for herself and see what she thinks about, like, I don't know, the world. Like, I have no idea what she thinks about anything.
I agree. I remember when she was on Vanderpump Rules and Jax had cheated and she took him back. A lot of people on Reddit were like, I think that she feels like she needs to be back with Jax to like solidify her place on this show. Like Britney doesn't need Jax. Like,
Yeah.
like she's fine enough on her own. And I agree. Like, I'm so excited to see her without Jax. It's actually enticing me to watch The Valley more. I guess
Yeah.
this is probably the goal, but to see her single and without Jax, like, because I want to see Britney. We've never seen Britney. We've only seen
Yeah.
Britney with
Jax.
Jax. I will say kind of a crazy thing that she said was in the same sentence, Britney is talking about possibly wanting to divorce Jax, but then bitching about how the two of them didn't even try to have a kid this month. So if you're genuinely thinking about divorcing him, why are you also thinking about having another kid with him?
I mean,
I guess she just wants to have another kid, but still.
this is where like timelines really matter, and who knows if what conversation was 3 months before the other. Like, a lot can happen in a short amount of time between like we're gonna have a baby, oh wait, we're divorcing. Like, but if it genuinely is kind of simultaneously being discussed, that's just I would be concerned. I would be concerned.
It was simultaneously discussed on that swing conversation with Janet. Like, I guess maybe that probably is what triggered Britney to maybe talk about divorce, because they didn't even try and have a kid.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't think it's that black and white, like there's more,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good thing that you guys didn't have a kid is all I'm saying.
But just crazy. But that also is like so true when you're in the last stages of a relationship and you like can feel it dying. You don't know what world you're living in. You're still trying to act like you're over here, but you're actually kind of over here, but we still got to act over here because technically we're over here still, but you both know you're over here. It's just such an awkward land where things can get so blurry quickly. So it's a hard time, especially when kids are involved. My God, poor thing.
I don't know where it's going to go from there, but I do think that, I don't know, maybe that's where Lala and Sheena would fall into the valley. Lala wanting to bring Britney out and start dating again. That's her single friend. And I just don't know.
I could see that. And Sheena is fun. Like, Sheena would go out with her too and stuff.
Right.
Like they could be three little girls out on the town.
Brock would then also take on the role of daddy for Britney's kid, just like he does for Lala's kid.
Oh, yes. They would be such a cute little trio polygamist family. I would love that. I
do hope that, like, what this show teaches is that, like, women, you can leave your shitty husbands. Like, I don't think that Michelle and Britney are the strongest women just based off of what we've seen on TV. And they both, based on what we've seen on TV, have very controlling husbands. And it is nice to see them getting out of a bad situation and not just putting up with it. I enjoy watching that. I was grossed out by Jesse saying, if she wants to leave, would you let her? And then
that was
saying, no.
very eerie. That was very eerie and very gross. And the fact that he said no was.
And Jason's probably just sitting there like, what fucking kind of 1950s ass realm did I just walk into?
Jason's sitting there in every scene being like, why did I agree to do this again? Like, what? This was totally Janet's idea. Whoa!
Mic drop.
Literal mic drop moment. Can we talk about the Jesse and Michelle conversation for a second?
Yes, please.
I just feel like I'm back in the fucking crazy house. Like, what's the truth? I don't know. Like, who knows what? Who actually thinks what? Who's actually revealing stuff in real time? I'm so lost at this point that I just, like, want to give up. Like, the sex they had that morning, if it took her just having her eyes closed during sex make him wake up to the reality of all of this, then, like, I guess I'm glad she kept her eyes closed. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just like, what reality are they living in right now?
It just seems a little too good to be true that in the span of 12 episodes, we've watched their marriage crumble to the point of divorce in the season finale of the first season of a brand new show where the season was revolved around rumors and texting. Like, I still believe, and I know you don't, I believe that he kind of knew all of this.
But
I think it was planned. I think it was planned.
But that's why I'm back in the crazy house, because I go back and forth so quickly of like, okay, well, he is bringing up the fact that where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, there's enough things revolving around in the air at this point that, like, you got to be stupid not to think something's going on. And it kind of seems like he's catching on to that. But I just think his ego's too big to be played a fool on TV.
Yeah.
I just do. I don't know. It's confusing. But I just wanted to see if you had any insight, because this just made me further confused.
No, I just still think it's all a fucking ruse. And we are the laughing stock of the Bravoverse right now.
We're the ones getting played.
But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think it was Janet and Michelle just went on Sheena's podcast. I didn't listen to it, but they talk about, like, her and Jesse, and apparently, like, when he went on Watch What Happens Live, he said something that was a little, like, shady towards Michelle, and Michelle was like, I think that he's mad at me because I've been posting a lot of pictures with my new boyfriend, with Isabella, and which she has.
Yeah.
So I will say it definitely does feel like there is a bit of resentment right now with Jesse towards Michelle. So that could kind of feed into your point of, like, he didn't know.
Yeah.
but he's dumb for not knowing. Even him being like, you're weird with your phone. I can never see your phone. You always hide your phone. It's like, he knows. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Because his family doesn't divorce. They don't do divorce.
They don't do divorce. Apparently, no one does divorce.
No one divorces these days.
No one
apparently.
divorces these days.
In Los Angeles. Who knew? Very low divorce rate, especially amongst reality stars.
Yeah. It's usually a done deal. This is shocking.
You're telling me a marriage between reality TV stars in Los Angeles, former actors and models, is not going to last?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, look, I said this a bit on the Vanderpump episode, and I'm sorry if I just sound like a bitch, but I'm okay with this show being over next week. I've enjoyed watching it, but I will say it's been, for me, a little tough to recap it because I just feel like there's not that much happening, and I think we're being lied to, and I don't even understand the friendships between these people. I don't think that this show was set up properly.
Which is, we're seeing the experimentation of like round 2 of reality TV, because the first round, like the Vanderpump era, people were all just experimenting and seeing what worked. And what worked was something like Vanderpump Rules, where there was an established group of friends that had the drama and the personalities. And now we're, however many years later, trying to recreate that. But by recreating that, we make it seem forced, and therefore you don't have the same magic that happened from the original Vanderpump Rules. So I just feel like they just need to chill a little bit and like just show them being friends. Right. Be friends.
I think too, because I know I always compare it like this is the middle ground show, right? There's the younger shows where it's like the Vanderpumps and the Summer Houses and the Southern Charms, where it's like younger people, well, not Southern Charm, there's some old heads on that one, but like younger people who are just like drinking and partying and having fun. And then there's the Real Housewives, where it's, the quote older crowd. And the reason that Vanderpump and Summer House and those shows make sense is because it's young people who just want to party, and if they don't get along, it makes sense. You don't, like, when you're in your 20s, you do kind of hang around people that you don't really fuck with because you're all at the same party, or you haven't figured out how to wean out your friends yet. And then on the Housewives, it's different because a lot of what we see on the Housewives, they're not together. Their lives are very separate. We'll just focus on Kyle Richards in this scene. We'll just focus on Dorit in this scene. Like, sure, they all hang out and they don't get along, and you're like, why the fuck are you guys even together? But that's not the basis of the show. But the basis of The Valley is that we're supposed to believe that this is a tight-knit friend group in their 40s that actually put up with each other's shit like this. And I don't think many friend groups in their 40s hang out with people that are starting rumors about them on a daily basis. Like, it just seems so fake to me.
It seems far-fetched, and you can feel the fakeness of the dynamics.
Yeah, I think they just need to zhuzh it around a little bit. I don't think that adding Sheena or Lala or the Toms would be that bad of an idea. If anything, it would make it a bit more believable to me, because I know that they actually hang out with a lot of those people. Yeah,
I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know about the Toms. I feel it in my belly that Lala and Sheena and Mr. Brock are going to come over.
Yeah, and Brock. I always forget about Brock. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
They're a package deal now,
They sure are. Well, that's pretty much all I've got.
That's pretty much all I got, too. Don't stay with controlling men. You don't have to. Is the log line for me of this episode, if I had to give one.
Divorce is an option for a reason. We mentioned this on our Vanderpump episode, but next week we are going to release 2 episodes like we do every week. We're going to recap the Valley finale. And we're also going to do like a weekly reality gab episode. So we've got one more Valley recap for you, and then we're going to do a Vanderpump rewatch from the start.
So stay tuned. It'll be really fun to see what our first Gabby episode is going to be like. We'll have to figure that out, Kate. Like, do we cover different subjects, or like?
Yeah, I think we could do like a little outline of like the big things that happened. Like did you see what happened in the Summer House reunion? Or honestly, just like we'll talk headlines.
Yeah. We'll just go on page 6 and just scroll.
Just scroll. But no, trust me, I'm on TikTok for 3 minutes and I've already got 6 headlines under my belt.
It's so true. It's because there's so many cast members of all these things. There's always someone fucking up something at some point.
Right. Like you and I haven't even talked about Catherine Dennis's DUI.
Oh, jeez.
That's why we need this
family.
That's why we need this weekly gab. There's so much to talk about in this world.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, please, if you haven't subscribed or followed us on Instagram yet, we are Girls Unscripted Pod. We are Girls Unscripted on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We love reading the reviews and the comments, so make sure to engage. And just as always, thank you for being a fan and listening to us. We do it for you.
We do it for you. We love you so, so much. You're awesome.
All right. So, Carolyn, I think we're going to log off so you can go just be a girl roaming around New York City. What do you say?
Yes. I'm going to go be Carrie Bradshaw.
Go be free.
Thank you so much, love. Well, we'll see everyone next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.